murkav. A para is actually, in Chazal, it's a mule. It's a crossbreed between an animal, between a donkey and a horse. Very fascinating. Shmuel had within him elements of Adam, from Avraham Avinu. He had elements of Hagar, who was the daughter of Parai, the king of Egypt, the Mitzri, descended directly from Cham. Yishmael is called a Pera Adam. And my wife yesterday, this morning she told me, just this morning, she said, yesterday, in the backyard, there was a turkey, like this huge bird. But it wasn't a turkey, it was hanging on a tree, and it was like a really, and it swooped down, and it grabbed a live squirrel, and it started eating it. It's called a turkey vulture. Oh, yeah. It's like gruesome to watch, but like it's every day in the wild. You think like the humankind, in human nature, we incorporate the entire animal world. There's a part inside of us that's a vulture. We have characteristics, animal characteristics. Man can be an angel, can be the highest of the high, be as noble as they can be saintly. We can emulate Hashem. We can be Rachamim, Chanan on the highest level. And then we're locked into a body that the body incorporates within it all elements of the animal world. A man can descend so low. Ilmole Chazal say that were it not for the fear of government, Ish Esre'ehu Chaim Beloy, a man his friend, he would swallow him alive. Now you think to himself, I would swallow my friend alive. He's my friend! Chazal, every word is measured, and nothing is missing. And Chazal tell us that if we didn't have an element of culpability, responsibility, there wouldn't be law and order. Man is capable of swallowing his friend alive. And that doesn't mean physically with his mouth that he would swallow him up alive. But in business, he gets a little cutthroat, he gets a little aggressive. The concept that someone is my friend is totally lost. We could swallow someone else up alive. We don't think of what the consequences are. We only think for ourselves. We're like that turkey vulture. Right now, I need to eat. We don't think of how and what we're doing. We have that strain inside of us. I was watching it once a year with my children. We went to a big screen, what's it called, the IMAX? IMAX. That we watched there. There was a crew that went out to Botswana for a year and a half. They were out in the wild. And this was like an amazing, they had, very, very good equipment. And they were filming in the middle of the desert there. There was a watering hole where there was a tremendous pond of water, a lake. They gathered for 3 or 4 months after the monsoon rains. And all the animals for hundreds of miles would come to that huge lake and drink. And then slowly you see it recedes and recedes and recedes. There's nothing left. The animals all are basically, they leave. But it's a huge breeding ground for about 4 or 5 months of the year. And it shows you the area, 100 square miles. I don't know how big it was, but it's huge. And there's a lion. And he has a lioness with cubs, And it shows you how the lion was the king of that whole territory. He was in charge of that territory. Nobody dared encroach on that territory. And the lioness would, it shows how she would run after gazelles or little storches and try and catch them, and they would run away. But, eventually she would catch, bring the feed back to the lion who's sitting there like the king. And it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. You see how the animal world and the ecosystem, how Kadosh Baruch Hu created the lion as the king of the beasts. The lion reflects majesty and power, prowess. And then you see the lion, after about a year and a half, the lion's old and big, and you hear in the distance howling in the night, the sound from far away, the sound of a roar, and the lion roars back. You don't know where this roar is coming from, but there's another lion that is trying to take over his territory. And the lion says, you come near me and I'm going to fight you, I'm going to kill you. Now the lion, the animals, they can actually detect in the power of the voice, the decibel level, the depth of the roar, to determine if they have a chance in this battle, in this boxing match or not. So the first time, the 6 months, the first time the younger, assertive, aggressive lion realizes, he's no match yet for this big lion, but he's waiting, he's biding his time. And sure enough, you can hear in the night the howls and the roars. And then you see under the bush, they were able to get these night focus lenses, and you could see how the other lion came months later. The other lion comes, he finally feels that he's got a chance, and he comes, and they're fighting in the bush, underneath the bush. It's like, and you hear the screams and the yelps from the two lions biting into one another, and the younger lion, sure enough, kills the older lion, and the lioness tries to run away. Eventually, he has like 2 or 3 lionesses, but one of them or 2 of them become subservient to the new lion, and now they're feeding him. It's mind-blowing. It's like a mafia world. It's a mafia world, the animal world. It's exactly what it is. And we need to know that within us is exactly the same strains and traits. We're constantly concerned about dominance, ego, how we're perceived. Nobody should get the better of us. If someone takes advantage of us, we're so enraged. There was a fellow who told me, he said, a very wealthy guy, he was doing a deal with a multimillionaire. And this multimillionaire is known to be a really hard-nailed guy. You don't get the better of him. So he told me this guy, the other guy, this wealthy guy, he sent my friend a package in the mail. And then he got a bill from the secretary there, FedEx, $12.33. Got a bill. He's thinking to himself, like, this guy's a billionaire. Were you sending me the FedEx bill for $12.33 because you sent me some documents relevant to the deal? To him, the $12.33 is exactly the same as $5 million. Doesn't make a difference. It's nothing to do with the money. It's the principle of the matter. A principle. You owe me, I don't know you. This is cloaked in some kind of religious principle. Nobody's going to get better. Nobody's going to take advantage of me. King of the beasts. And you see, man can descend to such low level. Look at these ISILs. Look at these people. Barbarians. Animals. Sadists. Para-Adams. The animal asserts itself in such a strong way, and they delude themselves thinking that they're on a crusade, on a holy mission. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us an ability to rise high, and we, Klal Yisrael, can rise the highest of the high. And that was determined when we came out of Mitzrayim. Anochi Hashem Elokecha Hama'alcha me'eretz Mitzrayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm Hashem your God. The purpose of coming out of Egypt was that we should receive the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu at the burning bush is told by Hashem, you're going to see, B'hitzi es ha'om miMitzrayim, when I take the Jewish people out of Egypt, Ta'avdun es ha'elokim al ha'har hazeh. They're going to serve me on this mountain. They're going to be primed and prepped to be able to serve me and accept the Torah and realize the highest heights that humankind can attain. The majesty, the grandeur of Adam will emerge. In Adam, there's two sides to Adam. Here you have an Adam who's a malach, who's an angel. He sees from one end of the world to the other. He's living in Gan Eden. And here you have an Adam, there's a part that's incorporated in him, in the body, that is Adama, that is earth. And you see his two children, they have the whole world to themselves. Cain and Hevel, they have the whole world to themselves. And Cain is a little jealous of Hevel. Hevel got the better of him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to takes his mincha. He's jealous, and he stands up, he has to kill him. You know what? You have the whole world. You go here, and I go there. We'll be fine. You go to America, I'll go to Africa. No. The whole world is mine. And you're encroaching on my territory. It's all mine. It's incredible that man has these two extremes, two polar extremes. And Klal Yisrael has the ability to rise above all the animalistic traits. From the pari of Mitzrayim, pari is pera, it's porua, it's open. The letters pei resh, it's very interesting, peh, is always an expression of an opening. Peh actually means an opening. And it can blossom forth. You can have a perach, you can have a flower that blossoms out, or you can have a pera adam. You can have kiparuahu. Parua means it's open to all forces of impurity. It's ripped open. It's parua. It's ra. There's a shoresh poira roish velana. There's an evil. It opens up. It all depends on the source. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the ability to open up and to blossom in such an amazing way. The koich of kedusha can grow and grow. And if a person wants the source of evil, the animal strains in a person can blossom and grow in the most draconian, the most terrible way. A person can become a Dracula. They can eat blood. We don't know our energy, we don't know our koch, we don't know what lies in us. You know, they say, the world says, when you look at an apple, look at an apple, anybody can count the seeds in an apple. But only Hashem can count the apples in a seed. Anyone can count the seeds in an apple. Open up the apple, you count, there's 33 seeds there. Whatever's inside, I don't know. Only Hashem can count the apples in a seed. In one seed you can feed a whole world. In every person there's a seed. There's a shoresh, there's a root, and it can blossom forth. A person can blossom with goodness. Pru uruvu. Hashem says, take that koach that increases, that's para barava. Take that power that is inherent in every man, that godly power, and use it. Vayivorach Elokim es ha'adam. Hashem says, pru uruvu umilu es ha'aretz. V'kivshuha, conquer the land, conquer the material, harness the material. To me, then it's a bracha. It's a flower that blossoms forth. It's true, from one apple seed we could feed the whole world. There's enough there for the whole world. Or a person becomes a pera. There's parua, there's ra, there's evil in a person. And a person uses that very koach that's given for bracha and for blessing, that allows us to rise so high, and we can use it to fall so low. So what's the Eitzah? Hashem says, I can take you out of the land of Egypt. Egypt, the Meitzorim, is the body that that limits us, constricts us. Hashem says, I'm going to give you the ability to leave the body, to step out of the body. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. You can come to the Anochi Hashem Elokecha. There's a pathway through which you can come all the way to Har Sinai, to the highest level. Even from Egypt, Hama'alcha, I will help lift you up, Me'eretz Mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt, from the Meitzorim, from the Paroi that lies inside of you. And here's the avenue. Here's how we do it. Harchev picha. Broaden your mouth. And Hashem says, don't worry, V'amalei, I'll fill it. What does that mean, broaden your mouth? What does that mean?
Open as wide as you possibly can.
Open your mouth as like by the dentist. Open your mouth as wide as a line. I don't know. My mother used to say when my mouth was wide open, better close your mouth because flies are going to go in. What does that mean? Open your mouth wide. Broaden your mouth. Harchev picha.
So you try to receive more and you will receive more. Like,
And I will fill it. Good. Try and receive more. Okay. Good. Try and receive more. Harchev picha. Broaden your mouth. Try and receive more. Any other ideas?
Request everything, little and small, from Hashem. Need help with everything.
Request. Good. Request. Any other ideas?
Like bring your needs, like request.
Good. Bring your needs to Hashem. The mouth is where we are taking the neshima, the breath, the neshama, the soul, and we're giving it expression. We're taking it and forging through the body words. The crowning point of man is the ability to take the soul and give it expression. How do we give expression to the soul? Every time we speak, the essence of breath is the central ingredient in anything that we communicate. It's the soul. Vayehi ha'adam lenefesh chaya. Man became a living creature, says the Targum, ruach memalala, a ruach that can speak. Words are called milim, words. They're rooted from the word male, full. Mamalala. To be mamalel with the sfosayim, because it reflects that inside we're really filled with the spirit of Hashem. And we're giving the spirit of Hashem, we're imparting the spirit of Hashem to the world. That's why words are so powerful. The Torah says, Lo yachil devorei, kachol hayotze mipiv ya'aseh. You should know your words are very powerful. Don't profane your words. Don't violate your words. The words have to be emes. Emes is the chosim, the significance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It has to be our signet because the words that we say outside have to reflect the inside. They're our breath, our neshama. Words are very powerful. Everything that comes out of our mouth, Yasa, is done. That's why great tzaddikim, whose words are never corrupted, they reflect the godliness within them in their pure state. They're absolutely true. Their words have an incredible power. Their blessings have a power. Very powerful words of who we are. Hashem says, open up your mouth. Ba'amalehu. I will fill. I'll fill it. You don't even have to say it in words. Recognize, acknowledge that with every breath, I'll call neshima or neshima tahalel ka. Every breath you're breathing in from Hashem, you're breathing it out. Harchev picha. Live that dimension of the neshama. Hanechi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzeisecha me'eretz Mitzrayim. We read the end of Shema. After it's all said and done, what's the final words? The final words. We're going to just like to talk about the mitzvah of Schirus Yitzias Mitzrayim. We have to mention Yitzias Mitzrayim. Kol yimei chayecha, all the days of our life. And therefore we have a mitzvah de'oraisa to say and mention at the end. We say the three parshas of Shema. And we say at the end, Ani Hashem Elokeichem, I am Hashem your God, Asher hoitzeisi eschem, that I took you out, me'eretz Mitzrayim, from the land of Mitzrayim, liyos lochem le'elokim, to be for you as a God. I took you out of the land of Mitzrayim. Hashem is telling us, each and every one of us, we can leave the Mitzrayim, The body is the animal side of us. It's the limited side of us. It's tsar. It constricts and constrains us. Hashem says you can leave Mitzrayim. Ani Hashem Elokechem. I am Hashem, your God. There's a your God inside of you. There's a Hashem inside of you, and that's the avenue through which you can actually leave the constraints of the body. Ani Hashem Elokechem. The Yid can leave the Mitzrayim. The Yetzias Mitzrayim is so pivotal. The moment of birth of every Jew is on the night of the Seder. The night of the Seder is the highest night of the year. So special. It's the moment of birth. It's the moment of rejuvenation. It's the moment where we begin afresh. It's like we're each leaving Mitzrayim. We're going out of Egypt. And the message of going out of Egypt is so central because it's the beginning. We recognize we have a mission, each and every one of us, to leave the animal side, to leave the parua side, to grow and to become a perach, to realize heights, to lead us, that leads us all the way to Ani Hashem Elokechem, Anochi Hashem Elokech, all the way to Matan Torah. And Hashem gives us that ability to rise. We can believe in ourselves. We can trust that we have that ability to rise. The Gemara tells us, we read this in the Pesach Haggadah, that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, when he was 18 years old, was installed as the Nasi of Klal Yisrael. And the very day that he was installed as a Nasi, he instituted a new law. What was his law? Until that time, we only knew that we had a mitzvah to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim in the day. The pasuk says that you should remember L'man Tizkor es Yom Seischa Me'eretz Mitzrayim. You should remember the day of your going out of Egypt. Kol yimei chayecha, all the days of your life. All the days of your life. So we only knew that there was a mitzvah to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim in the day. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah came and he said, no, we have a mitzvah to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim not just in the day, but also at night. We say the Kriya Shema in the day and we say Kriya Shema at night. And we have a mitzvah at night to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's why we say all three parashiyos at night too. And he dashed it in this pasuk. All the days of your life. Why does it say all the days? It should just say Yimei Chayecha. Koil is coming to be marbe the night. This was a very important drasha. It's so important that in the Seder we mentioned this mitzvah, this takana, this rule of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. We talk about it. And we say, therefore, tonight, it's the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, we're mentioning the mitzvah, we have a mitzvah to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. We pay homage to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who gave that drasha. He heard it from Ben Zoma. The Chachamim said, no, Koil is lahavi limois HaMashiach. It's to draw close to the days of the Mashiach. It's a very strange expression, lahavi, to draw close. What does that mean exactly? We won't talk about it, but Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said we have a mitzvah to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim in the night. What is so meaningful about mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim at night that we have to say over this drasha in the Seder and mention about it? And immediately after we say that, we bring a maisa, a story to support it. We talk about how all the Chachamim, the greatest of the generation, it was right after the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, and they would mesubim b'bnei brak kol oisen halayla. They were discussing the Yetzias Mitzrayim that whole night. They were talking about Yetzias Mitzrayim until the students came in and they said, Rabbi Seinu, Higia Zman Kriya Shema Shel Shachris. It has arrived, the time of Shachris, the time to say Kriya Shema in the day. We're bringing a story to support that we have a mitzvah to say Kriya Shema at night. What is it? What's being said over here? What was the argument? What did Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah institute and Tuoif, he had this revolutionary new approach that was embraced by the Baal Haggadah, and we say it over, and therefore it's instituted. We say, like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, even though he was only a yachid, he was one person, but we follow his direction, and we say Kriya Shema at night. And we mention Yetzias Mitzrayim at night. What's the relevance? You see, when the Jewish people came out of Egypt, they were celebrating the Exodus. They came out in the daybreak. A new dawn broke. And therefore, every day we look out at the world and we recognize and engage and embrace. We realize, wow, we have to remember the day of the Exodus of Egypt. Each day is a reminder of that very day. That was such a pivotal, historical, critical moment. Every day we're remembering the day we came out of Egypt. And this day that dawns light and bright and the sun comes up is all we remember the day of going out of Egypt, because we're going to come, it's reinforcing in us a faith and a trust that we're going to come to the days of Mashiach and we're going to realize a new redemption, and Hashem will bring that redemption. We reinforce going out of Egypt, lahavi, to bring us close, to usher us into the era of Yemois HaMashiach, the days of Mashiach. It reinforces our trust that we're going to be redeemed again. That's how the Rabbanan learned. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, no, we're mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim because we're realizing that the darkness of the night, when they came out of Egypt, they realized that the entire darkness of being in Egypt and all the difficulties that they endured and all the time where they were the feeling so limited was all in order and for the purpose to connect to the day. There's a purpose and a tachlis in Yetzias, in being in Egypt. They saw it from a retroactive perspective.